Hello, my name is William Grant. It is my Unit 2 speech about the British Empire. Now, for almost all of its history, the British Empire has been known for its impact on the world and its history-changing events. This can range from creating new countries to fighting off enemies in war, or even crippling entire continents. But in some way, the British has affected nearly every part of the world. To start on the more positive side of history, in 1940, the British went up against the Germans, who had started their invasion of Poland, and once that happened, the British were some of the first to respond. The British, along with their allied forces, such as France, America, and the USSR, began their fight against the Nazi regime and the Axis forces. During one of the most important battles of the war, D-Day, the British were very important during this battle. With nearly 150,000 men, they attacked Gold and Sword Beaches, taking them. This information comes from the National Army Museum's website on their D-Day article with no listed author. Another great thing they did was abolish slavery throughout most of Europe. Starting in 1787, people such as Thomas Clarkson, William Wilberforce, and Granville Sharp began the British Anti-Slavery Society in London. It was their help that eventually led to the abolishment of slavery, in 1807, the trade of slaves became illegal, and in 1833, slavery together was abolished. This came from the Adam Matthews Publication Services on their abolition and emancipation articles. Now, there is much negative history to the British as well, especially relating to Africa, as is seen as in the Berlin Conference. According to the South African History Online website, the UK was very interested in Africa's cheap work and their mineral-rich lands. And so, in 1884, 14 different European countries met and all agreed on how to split up Africa with no insight from someone who is actually from the nation. This will be forever known as the Berlin Conference. Also with Africa, the British used several African slaves, for hundreds of years, and their colonies was extremely popular over in the Americas. From 1562 to 1833, slaves were used for subsistence farming and commercial farming in order to grow massive amounts of cash crops such as cotton and tobacco. I got this information from Britannica, from an article written by Bernard A. Wiesberger and Richard R. Beeman. Now, the actions of slave owners were horrible, but it was through the exploitation of the African continent that Britain and several of its colonies became very important superpowers that we know today. Now, more current events, British has calmed down recently, with most of its war efforts and colonization coming to a halt. Now, due to their war efforts, the free world has remained stable, but the colonization has, for lack of a better word, crippled Africa. As you can see on the chart, nearly all of African nations are going downhill, with Africa and several other less developed nations that the British colonized only making $271 a year for the average person. This came from ending Africa's poverty trap. And this has left them far behind in the world. So, whether if your grandparents fought with the British in World War II, or if your ancestors were in a colony of the British, the world has and will forever be heavily impacted by the actions of the Great British Empire. Now, for more precise information, I've left the sources on this PowerPoint slide if you would like to view my work the work of several other people more intensely.